The last few weeks, a bunch of new games have been announced. Not all big AAA first-party games, but still a lot of interesting games you may have missed, so we're rounding up 30 new game announcements here today. Let's get started off with number 30. You may have missed this one, but Patrick from SpongeBob is getting his own game. Now, you might think you've outgrown SpongeBob or you're over this stuff. I personally disagree, but this is an interesting spin. Just stick with me for a second. To me, it looks like it's a bit of a mix between Battle for Bikini Bottom and like open world adventure and platforming shenanigans and the sandbox chaos of something like Goat Simulator. You're finally just playing as Patrick and you're rolling around, wrecking stuff, getting into all sorts of goofy shenanigans. I think that's just what the doctor ordered. Plus, I really just like seeing the game cover and it's just Patrick's face. It's about time he gets his time in the sun, you know what I mean? As of right now, it's releasing on all the major platforms October 4th, 2024. Now, next over at number 29, we have We Harvest Shadows. This one is really interesting. It's sad and depressing and spooky looking, and then you have like a farm to run. So you plant crops, you take care of livestock, and explore the surrounding lands. And at night, it looks like some spooky stuff is going on. Something is out to get you, and you have to not get got. The vibes here are really cool. It seems intriguing. No release date yet, but there is a demo up on Steam. Next over at number 28, we have Mellowbot, A Last Song. Here, it looks like you play as a cute little robot who is trying to rid a silent planet of a strange disease by using the power of music. It's pretty charming. This seems to be part adventure game and part rhythm game, and that could potentially be a really good combination. You're essentially recreating the sounds of the local flora through this whole rhythm-based mini-game. Some good ideas on display here, especially if you're looking for something a little bit different. As of right now, it's set to release September 12th, 2024. Now, next over at number 27, we have Revenge of the Savage Planet. This is actually the sequel to Journey to the Savage Planet, believe it or not. So if you played that, you know exactly what you're getting at here. It looks similar. It's a funny action-adventure game where you're running around and trying to determine if the planet is fit for humans to live on. But you're also just trying not to die. Seems chaotic. I know the original game didn't like completely blow up, but the people that did play it really enjoyed it, and hey, it's good that it's getting a sequel. As of right now, it has a 2025 release window. Now, next over at number 26, we have Lost in Random, The Eternal Die. This is a sequel to Lost at Random, and this time they're going for a top-down action adventure instead of the previous game's third-person camera perspective. So you're still in the same gothic fairy tale-esque setting where everyone's life is dictated by the roll of a dice. These games seem like they had a lot of cool stuff in it if you were willing to dig into it, and the combat in this one in particular, from what we've seen in the video so far, it does look like it's a lot of fun, and as of right now, it's just got a 2025 release date window. Now, next over at number 25, we have King of Meat. What a name for a game. It's got my attention right away just because of how weird it is. This does look pretty awesome. You're a contestant on a game show called King of Meat, and you're slashing, you're jumping, and you're dodging your way through an obstacle course that is trying to kill you. And the really cool thing about this is that you can actually create obstacle courses for other players to take on. We've seen this concept in other games, but the way they're implementing it here just seems really well done. Also, the trailer has a Cypress Hill song, so hell yeah to that. It just seems like a good idea. Kind of like a game show murder version of something like Fall Guys or something like that. I don't know. This could really find a good niche. As of right now, it has no release window, but we're definitely keeping an eye on it. Next over at number 24, we have Rogue Waters. The pitch here is really easy. Turn-based XCOM-like pirate game. Yes, sign us up. It doesn't look like anything crazy, but just a cool setting. You can tame big sea monsters to assist you in battle, and that also seems really awesome. I don't know, in my opinion, the more pirate games, the better. As of right now, it feels like all we have is Sea of Thieves, or what's that Ubisoft one called? I already forgot what it's called, that's messed up. But anyway, Rogue Waters is releasing September 30th, 2024. Now, next over at number 23, we have Masters of Albion. Peter Molyneux is back. You remember him? He was the guy behind such brilliant games like Dungeon Keeper, Black and White, more recently, the original Fable games. And here he has Masters of Albion. Essentially, this is Dungeon Keeper mixed with like a fantasy setting of something like Fable. It's also got the pointer, like the little hand, you click on stuff, you move stuff around, you play God, you manipulate these environments, but you can also take control of your minions and directly control them in third-person action adventure combat. It seems rough. We don't know when this one is coming, and Peter Molyneux and his team often has big ideas, lofty goals that they don't always quite meet, but we'll just have to wait and see where this one goes. Now, next over at number 22, we have Nightmare House Reimagined. So this is a reimagining of Nightmare House 2, a pretty big and well-liked Half-Life 2 mod. If you know anything about Half-Life 2 mods, you know they're often bangers. And the original creators here for this are on board, which is awesome. And as of right now, the Steam listing does say it's like a true early 2000s horror experience where you're just slashing enemies, going through a spooky environment, and solving puzzles. I don't have experience with the original Nightmare House, but this just seems fun. No release window yet, but again, another one just to keep an eye on maybe. Now, next over at number 21, we have 2 Point Museum. So if you've played the 2 Point games like 2 Point Hospital, it's that, but now in a museum. Simple enough premise, pitch. I think that could potentially work and could be a lot of fun. If you're a fan of something like Night at the Museum, if you're a little weirdo like me, this could be a good little time. I don't know when it's releasing yet, but I played 2 Point Hospital and I'm definitely gonna try and play this. Now, next over at number 20, we have Will, Follow the Light. Now, at first glance, it seems like a tech demo, but a really cool tech demo. The sailing looks like it could be really intense here. So you're essentially facing the harsh northern environment as you try to make it back home. So you're sailing, you're dog sledding, you're exploring spooky, creepy lighthouses. It just seems like it's checking a lot of the vibe boxes. I see some Alan Wake influences here. This definitely has potential for something. And as of right now, its release year is 2025. Now, next over at number 19, we have Begone Beast. This is a cute-looking top-down action game where you're slashing through hordes of demons. And there's lots of screaming, and it looks like that might be a game mechanic. Not sure, but this does look kind of cutesy, but also fun. As of right now, it's hitting Steam in early access February of 2025. Now, over at number 18, we have Sniper Elite Resistance. A new Sniper Elite will always bring the whole Game Ranks crew huddled around the TV. We're pretty excited for this. We love Sniper Elite because they're just pure, raw fun. It's kind of like stealth game, sniper game junk food. But in this one, you aren't playing as Carl Fairburn, you're playing as Harry Hawker. We're excited just to see a new Sniper Elite and really how they're shaking things up. As of right now, it's just slated for 2025. Next over at number 17, God Save Birmingham. Now this is a zombie outbreak that hits medieval Birmingham, and you're running around and I quote the developers, meticulously recreated medieval market town. So this is all pre-alpha footage that you can see here, and it definitely looks like it, but the idea is really cool, and we're curious to see where it goes. The zombie genre needs a shakeup. No release window yet, but another one just to maybe keep an eye on. Now next over at number 16, we have Floatopia. This is a new game from NetEase where it's kind of like an Animal Crossing, but you're humans that go to this little fantasy world to get away from their mundane life. You could fly around, possibly change the weather, build houses on these magical floating islands, and just have a nice time. It's giving kind of like little weird mobile game vibes, but definitely an alternative for Animal Crossing fans. If you're looking for simple, conflict-free fun, maybe keep this on your radar. Next over at number 15, we have Retrieval. Now with this, all we got is a cool pre-rendered trailer that doesn't really tell us much at all, except you're fighting some sort of zombie monster thing. The pilot-looking character definitely looks cool, and the monsters look creepy, but this is really all we have to go on at the moment. Retrieval is at least slated for 2026, so it's gonna be a while, but hopefully we learn more about what this thing is soon. Next over at number 14, we have Directive 8020. Now, we have a new Dark Pictures game from Supermassive here, and it looks awesome. Again, we don't see gameplay, maybe a snippet, but like the feeling is definitely there. It's also being labeled more as a survival horror game, so maybe this will play a little bit different than their last few games. You know, The Quarry, the Dark Picture Anthology, like I mentioned, stuff like that. I don't know, if you're a horror fan, I think these guys always cook and do a good job, and I like that Directive 8020 is going in a little bit of a different direction. Next, over at number 13, we have Hella. And unfortunately, this is another pre-rendered cinematic trailer. There are a lot of these, but just like with a little bit of gameplay. It does seem interesting though. Like you're this mouse and their little yarn backpack. It's just doing something for me. My heart feels weird here. So you're swinging around your cute magical frog backpack, picking up mushrooms and interacting with other little critters. Can't really tell what kind of game it is based off the trailer, but it does look nice. If you're burnt out on blood and guts, this might do it for you. Now, next over at number 12, we have Train Sim World 5. You like trains? Are you a big train nerd? Well, now you guys finally have the train simulator you deserve. Well, this is the 5th one technically, so you've had 4 previously, but this one does just look extra intense. More features, better graphics, and it's pretty far along. As of right now, it's releasing September 17th, 2024. Next, over at number 11, we have The Occultist. Now, there's not a lot out there for this one, other than this very pretty, supposedly rendered in-game trailer, which is very pretty, so, we'll believe it when we see it, but we're always down for a new spooky adventure. We talked about this one on the Friday show. It definitely has some interesting story concepts behind it, but as of right now, sometime in 2025, we'll be playing it. Now, next over at number 10, we have Hunger. This PvPvE first-person extraction horror game does look really cool. It looks kind of gross and moody, the same way Hunt Showdown looks gross and moody, and it is from the developers behind Hell Let Loose, which was actually a pretty cool game, and very different than what they're making here. So can't wait to see what this ends up actually being. You see a little bit of gameplay at the end of what they've put out, and it does look pretty. There are guns, swords, and cool monsters. As of right now, it is entering early access in 2025. Next over at number 9, Wreckfest 2. Now, this is Destruction Derby at its finest. The sequel to the very fun Wreckfest is on the way. We at least know that. The trailer itself is pretty cool with like an on-a-dash camera angle and it being rendered in like real gameplay footage. It looks good. The physics engine is apparently better, there's more customization for the cars, and then you destroy them. There's no release window yet, but to at least know one of these simple fun games is on the horizon, I'll take it. Now, next over at number 8, we have Roadcraft. The newest sim-like driving game from Focus Entertainment looks like more of what we've been playing, but now we're going to be driving roadwork vehicles. So like excavators, dump trucks, tractors, you name it. Some people might label this as boring, but it's also strangely interesting. And it just looks like this game has that good feeling. There are people that love these types of simulations or these options for driving, and as of right now, Roadcraft is slated for sometime in 2025. Next over at number 7, we have Mars Attracts. Now, this is a park management sim, but it's set in the world of Mars Attacks. In my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. So you're doing the usual thing here. It looks like you're building rides, you're hiring staff, you're planning your park, but you're Martians. So hopefully you're doing some weird shit to your patrons and the people here. So like you get to see the Martian in the trailer. Hopefully they're really going for it here. Don't know a lot about it other than the year. It's 2025. Now, over at number 6, Sulphur. This is an interesting looking shooter with a really cool art style. So mixing first person shooting and role playing mechanics, you're going to be shooting through a bunch of weird little monsters. The game also boasts about having like a wide variety of weapon attachments and enhancements, so that's where the depth can possibly lie. All of the weapon animations also look very cool and detailed. I don't know, this one's just got an interesting feel to it. The colors, the look, the gore, I'm into it. As of right now, no release date or window yet. Now, next over at number 5, we have Retro Realms, Halloween, and Ash vs. Evil Dead. So these are side-scrolling, kind of 16-bit platforming, but you're playing as Michael Myers and Ash Williams. Sign us up. This is coming with an announcement of a few Halloween games being in development, and this is the first one that we're getting. They're doing some cool stuff too, where like if you own both games, you can bring over characters from both games. Like you can bounce back and forth, which could be fun. Like I would like to play as Michael Myers killing Deadites in an S-Mart. Hopefully we're onto something with this one. Now, next over at number 4, Kong Survivor Instinct. This is set shortly after 2021's Godzilla vs. King Kong, where you play as a father looking for his daughter in a city that was ravaged by these titans. Honestly, when we first watched the trailer, I was expecting some sort of standard fare survival game, but it's actually a side-scrolling adventure game that looks potentially very cool. I'm definitely digging this. You know, anything that reminds us of Deadlight is something that we want to play. Also, it's got to be better than the last King Kong game, right? That weird busted one that came out last year. Anyway, forget about that one. Kong Survivor Instinct is releasing fall 2024. Now, down at number 3, we have Mafia: The Old Country. This is a straight-up new Mafia game. It's set in early 1900s Sicily, where you're going to see the origins of an organized crime family. Now, we're big fans of the Mafia series here at GameRanks. I've been on the record of that a lot. We're very excited for this one, even though we don't know anything about it, other than that it exists and it's the people who worked on the previous Mafia games. If you've seen The Godfather Part 2, you know the potential for this one is absolutely amazing. But apparently we will be getting more information December 2024, so hold tight. Now, next down at number 2, Borderlands 4. We know a new Borderlands is officially coming. We got a cinematic trailer at Gamescom that doesn't show us much, but it looks like there might be some cross-dimensional traveling going on. It's hard to tell, but we really do hope that they shake up the series somehow. Borderlands 3 was fine, and the Tiny Tina game was surprisingly cool, but it's time for something fresh and new. We'll know for sure in 2025. Now, down at number 1, Dying Light: The Beast. Now, originally being developed as Dying Light 2 DLC, apparently, The Beast is now a standalone adventure set in a rural area, and you're playing as Dying Light 1 protagonist Kyle Crane. Return of the King. I really liked him, so this is cool. This game almost seems like it's like backstepping away from Dying Light 2, more back to the feeling of Dying Light 1, but in a good way. It's definitely getting Dying Light 1 vibes here, which is good, but it's definitely got a different spin, because Kyle Crane has gone under some sort of experiments and has zombie DNA mixed with his own that lets him transform into a sort of beast. Oh, and it also has 4-player co-op, vehicles, exploration, all that stuff seems awesome. Dying Light 1 and its expansions are still like one of the coolest game experiences ever, so here's hoping Dying Light: The Beast can really capitalize on that more than Dying Light 2. I like Dying Light 2, but nowhere near as much as the first, so The Beast has a lot of potential.